Today, we're working with our friends at Snell Motors in beautiful Mankato, Minnesota.
All right, today we are in the 2021 Buick Envision, and it is the Avenir trim level. All right, so on your dashboard, you have an RPM on the left, you've got your speedometer on the right, you've got a gas gauge on the bottom left, and an engine temperature gauge on the bottom right. And then in the middle, you have an 8-inch digital multicolored configurable screen. So at the top of your screen, you see a bunch of icons. There's drive mode, there's temperature, there's a speed limit reading sign, your cruise control, your digital miles per hour, a compass, and a clock. And then there's a red line, and then down below that is some more information. And then down below that in the last line, you're going to see how many miles you have until empty, the odometer, and then your gear selector indicator. Okay, so let's talk about how you configure all this information. To do that, you're going to use just these four, well, it really is 3 buttons. It's the right, the left, and then this rotary knob. Okay. So as I press the right button, you're going to notice a bunch of icons show up. All right, these are the menus with which you control the driver's information screen. So under information, of course, you're going to have a whole bunch of things. And you can see the little white line that's scrolling down. You can set what you see in this screen, okay, by going over to settings and going to info page options, and then you click this rotary dial, and anything that has a green check mark is going to show up in that screen. If you click the button, it removes the check mark, and if you click it again, it replaces it. So this is how you control all the information that you're seeing on this particular page. Now you can scroll through all those, you can put so many different things in there, but that's how you do it. All right, so if I go over one to the right, you get media. Now, it's going to show you your whatever station you're on or whatever source you're on, and then it's going to give you a blue circle with a check mark that says menu. If you want to dive in further and change stations, change even sources, you have to click on here, and then I can click again on radio media, and now I can select my source. All right, so let's say I went to Sirius XM. Okay, now if I scroll through with this rotary knob, you can see the channels changing. But if I use the buttons on the left of my steering wheel right behind where I showed you a little earlier, you now have different favorites you can scroll through. Now remember, on a modern car, your favorite setting isn't just for that particular sound source like FM radio or Sirius XM. It's all your favorites. So whether they're XM or FM or AM, it'll go through all of them. Okay, if I go over one more to the right, you're going to have navigation. All right, so your turn-by-turn directions will show up in here. The car does come equipped with navigation, but you can also use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to access your own navigation from your phone. All right, I'm going to push the menu button here, and I can see recents and favorites. So quick kind of shortcuts to plotting maps or destinations in your navigation. All right, so now I've got to go backwards. So this is the back button, the left arrow. And now I can continue to the right, phone. Okay, there is currently no phone connected, but if there was, this is where you would see your phone stuff show up. If I go over one more, I have options. All right, info page options. I already showed you this one, so I'm going to go down to display. Now, if you take a look at the top of the dashboard, I showed you all, talked about all those little symbols on top. Well, under display is where you can change those. So, and again, anything with a check mark, you can turn on or off. So, for instance, if I want my digital speedometer off, I just click here and you can see it disappear from the dash. Click it again, it reappears. So these are all the things that you can customize in that top area of the digital screen. All right, now I'm gonna go left again to go backwards, and I'm gonna go to the right, and I'm gonna go down here. You can set a speed warning if you want, just click on here. I clicked it to turn it on, and then I can rotate this dial to set the warning. Okay. I am going to, of course, use my right arrow to go over to cancel, and I'm going to cancel that. So I'm going to leave it off. I'll use my left arrow to go back. Heads up display. So with this is the one spot where you can take, if you click on it, and you can have it display speed signs, or you can do adjust rotation. And what this does is adjust the whole HUD display or heads up display, left or right. Depending on where you sit in a car seat, you may like it adjusted more one way than the other, and that's where you do that. The other physical controls are down to the left of the steering wheel. Okay, I'm going to go back again. Okay, you've got remote learn, you've got software information, and then we're back to units here where you can change between US and metric. All right, so a very, very customizable dashboard. Next, we're going to take a look at the infotainment screen. All right, so the infotainment system is a 10-inch display. I absolutely love the new look for the 2021s, so much more refined. So basically, you have a 10-inch screen. It's a Bose 9-speaker audio system. You have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both of which are wireless. You have AM and FM radio, HD radio, and Sirius XM, and then Bluetooth, of course. Okay, so you've got 3 physical buttons. You've got a push for power, and then you rotate the power button for volume. You've got a home button, which either bring you to this screen, or if you push it a second time, will bring you to a split screen that shows 3 different things. So you got navigation, you've got media, and then your phone. Okay, and then this button here, if you rotate it, like on this screen, you can see it going between the different apps. And if I want, say, to go to navigation here, I would just click the check mark and it would bring me right to navigation. Okay, so it'll also change radio stations. So you can just manually dial in radio stations or Sirius XM stations as well. On the screen itself, you've got a bunch of icons. Now down here, you've got 3 dots. That means there's another screen over here and another screen over here. So if I go to the left, you're going to see the split screen we saw earlier. If I go one to the right, you're going to see a few more apps. Hey, these work like apps on your phone. So if I want to go to navigation, I simply click the one that says nav, and it brings me right into it. If I want to go into, say, audio, I can just click there. And then here's my sources right here. Okay. I can look at more sources right here to select. I can hit X there, or I can press the home button here, or there was a back arrow. So once you're in a media source, so say Sirius XM or AM or FM, how do you set a station? Well, you just find one. So I'm going to just tune manually here. I like how the pictures pop up. Let's say I want that one. I'm going to hit the check mark, and then I'm going to go up here, pick any one of these, and I can pick one of these too if I want to redo it. Push and hold, and now it's set. That means my steering wheel buttons behind the steering wheel on the left will now find that for me as I scroll through things if I want to use those controls. All right, so there's your sources. There's how to set a station. You can also go, let's say you're in FM, and you go to tune. You can also punch in a number here, right here, or you can use the buttons here to go number by number. Down here, you've got sound. So if you want to adjust the sound, that's where you do it. And these are just, you can either touch the arrows or you can just slide your hand up and down. Either way will work. All right, if you want to browse, that's there. This button turns HD radio on or off. All right, so that's your media. Okay, so let's move over to phone. So if I go to phone, I'm going to have my phone, my Apple CarPlay shows up here because I'm hooked to it wirelessly. You've got favorites, recents, contacts, keypad, voicemail. If you get a text, it will actually read the text to you and then will ask you if you want to reply. And when you say yes, it will then ask you what you want to say. And when you say it, it'll confirm it. It'll read it back to you, and then you can tell it to send it. But it's all done touchless. You don't have to touch anything. Besides the first button when you go to see the messages. All right. Moving over here, let's dive a little bit into navigation here to show you the basics. If you want to program an address, you can go right in here And then you can either look at recent favorites, fuel, parking, use a little arrow here to see a few more things, or you could just type it right in. The other way is using voice command. You've also got a search button right here that you can touch to get to the address part. You have got, you can zoom in and zoom out with these buttons, but you can also pinch and zoom, and it's very responsive. You can also twist it. All right, shows you where you are. You can set up your home, and then you can, of course, recenter everything. If you want to see more options, you click on the 3 dots, and then you can change a lot of these settings right here. If you want even more detailed settings, you can go into here and set those. And all you do to do that is just press 1, and then they're sort of on or off things. All right, let's go back here to home. You can set up a Wi-Fi hotspot in here. You can program different profiles for the users. So when you step in, your seat will adjust and your infotainment settings will adjust. Okay, then you've got, we'll come back to settings in a minute. You've got Apple CarPlay, and that is absolutely a fantastic deal here. So basically, right here, I've got a split screen, just like I had on the car's screen earlier, but I've got Google Maps. This will also do Waze. It'll do so many different navigation apps from your phone. You have got then your media right here. And if you want your phone, you can click here. It goes right to the phone. Music goes right to there. Google Maps, these are all shortcuts. Okay, if I press this one more time, it'll come up with the apps that will work with Apple CarPlay. So to the left, I get that divided screen you saw earlier. And these are all the apps that I have on my phone that work with Apple CarPlay. So they're just right there. That is just so neat. If you had never had used Apple CarPlay or Android Auto before, it's like Bluetooth times 1,000. It's just awesome. All right. Let's go over another screen here. You've got, this does have an air ionizer in here, and it will actually tell you what the indoor air quality is. You can go to climate if you don't want to use the physical buttons here, and you can control it from there. You do have a 360 camera system, which is just awesome. So the way Buick sets this up is there's an orange line, and then a curved blue line, and then the car, and then 2 orange dots. Well, the 2 orange dots tell you whether you're in the front or rear camera. And then the orange line at the top tells you it's active. That's the camera that's active. And the blue line kind of tells you what sort of view you're seeing. So if I click this, it's going to go to the back camera. And that's like a wide angle. Okay, if I go over to this one here, I can zoom in. It's a close-up of the front and the back, but straight up and down. Okay, if I want to see the sides. All right, so this is your right front. This is your left front tire. And then I always get a little confused looking at this, but I believe this is your back right and your back left. I may have that reversed, but all right. So then if I click this and I go back to, say, this view, I can get the dynamic swivel guidelines on or off. And then this is the 360. And if I click that button, it changes this to full screen and gets rid of the 360. So a really nice camera system. And of course, if you put it into reverse, the camera comes on automatically. Okay, down here, you do have a button for Sirius XM, and then, of course, a button for the My Buick app. Now, let's go back here for a minute to settings, because I want to show you a couple of things. First of all, this is where you can change a lot of things. So you can change the time and the date. Okay, right now it's set to use automatic time and date, but you can set it, you can set the date. You can use a network to provide a time zone. You can select a time zone or use a 24-hour format. And again, you can just scroll the screen like this, or you can use the arrows. Okay, you can change the language. You can manage phones, okay, that are in here. Because even though there are, like, say, multiple phones connected, only one will actually interact with the car. And that's typical for infotainment systems. Okay, so I'm back to settings here in a minute. I guess I need to go backwards. Here's where you set up your Wi-Fi networks and your Wi-Fi hotspot. There's a note about privacy. And then this is where you can change the display. So it can be an auto, which means, during the day it's brighter and at night it's dimmer, or you can actually turn the display off completely. Still functions, still does everything it's supposed to. It's just not showing up on the screen. Okay, if you tap the screen, it comes back on. Sounds. Okay, if you don't like certain sounds, you can change the maximum startup volume. I guess you have to use these arrows here to do that. But you can make some adjustment for that in case that bothers you. All right, you have voice command. Okay, these are all different things you can set. So you can have the feedback speed, the prompt length. You can have it confirm things, so it'll actually tell you, yes, I've sent that text. You do have updates. This has, of course, over-the-air updates. You don't have to be hooked to your Wi-Fi at home. You can do it through a USB, but that's there. All right, and then, of course, you can return to factory settings if you ever completely mess up. Now, the second window up here is all just on some apps. Of course, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are some of the apps. You have the air quality app I showed you before. This is another place to access audio and climate and My Buick. You notice these are all the icons that showed up on our screen right here. Okay, so let's go back in here. Let's go to vehicle. Now, in here are some of your safety systems. So I'm going to just go down here and go to collision and detection systems. And you can, first of all, set the alert type. This particular vehicle has what's called the safety alert seat. And it is really nice. Basically, it vibrates the bottom of your seat in the direction that there's a problem. So if the direction is in front of you, it's going to vibrate the front. If it's behind you, it's going to vibrate the back. So it's just really, really nice. Now, you can have it just beep at you if you don't want the seat to vibrate, but I have found that wakes you up. That is a really neat thing. You've forward collision and braking. You can have it off. You can have just alert or alert and brake, because this car does have automatic braking. And I think you'd want to leave that on, but that's where you do it. It also has front pedestrian detection. And again, off, alert, or alert and brake. There's a nice description there, and then you just click the button that you want. Adaptive Cruise Go Notifier. All right, so what happens is, with this, because this has fully adaptive cruise control, when you come to a stop behind a vehicle, sometimes you get distracted and the vehicle moves and you're sitting there. Well, this will beep at you if this is turned on, letting you know that traffic ahead of you has moved and you can move on. You've got lane change alert, that's on or off, and rear cross traffic alert on or off. But that is where a lot of your safety systems are. Now, there are some comfort and convenience things in here. Reverse tilt mirrors, so when you put it in reverse, the outside mirrors tilt down. Auto wipe in reverse. You can turn your hands-free liftgate control off, on, open, and close, or on, open only. Yeah. So you've got some customizable settings that you can make. Chime volumes. Okay, if your vehicle is doors open or the headlights get left on, this is the volume for those chimes. Okay, come back here, and I'm going to show you one more. So this one here has to do with your power door locks. Okay, you can auto unlock all the doors when you hit the unlock on the remote switch. You can do just a driver door, or you can have it off. And then delayed door lock. Okay, if you get out and the keys are with you, then it will, after a certain amount of time, lock the doors for you. All right, and everything else in here works the same way. Let's go to home here a minute. Okay, so no matter which one you click on, it's going to be the same process. There'll be a check mark, an on and off, or something that's like that. Then these icons down here, you notice, just stay on here all the time, except for unless you're in navigation and then they disappear. But these are just shortcuts. So again, this is your media, this is your phone, navigation, and climate. I do want to show you the massaging seat function, because that doesn't show up under these buttons. But on your driver's seat, you've got a push button that, first of all, will just activate and start the massaging function on the driver's seat. However, behind that, by the lumbar, there's a little circle that goes around the lumbar, and it's got a handle that sticks up. If I click that, you're going to see the screen change. So now I'm going to use the down arrow on the side of my seat, and I'm going to go to roll. So there are 3 different settings: 3, 2, or 1. Okay? And if I rotate it forward again, then I can control the lumbar here, and I can see what direction I'm going. It's nice that the driver's seat has a massaging function. That's always a nice addition. Now, I want to show you one more thing here because I plugged in a USB. If I go to audio and I go to sources, I now have my USB and my phone show up. If I click on my phone, it's going to use the Bluetooth connection to my phone, not the Apple CarPlay. So that'll just show you, it'll play whatever is playing on my phone. All right, so if I click on more again and I go up here to my USB that I have plugged in, okay? So now I've got, it's playing right off my USB. If I hit browse, I can see artists. I'm going to go to songs. Here we go. Here's all the songs I have in there. And I just put some on there for today, but that's where you actually can see the songs and select them. But you can look at it through genres, composers, folders, by podcasts, albums, all sorts of neat ways. But that all shows up now. The more things you plug in, the more things will show up on this audio sources. At the bottom here, this is your air quality number. Right now it's at a 0, which is good. You have your outdoor temperature, and of course your clock. And that's the 4G LTE signal indicator. So the last thing I want to show you is how to hook your phone to Bluetooth. And then because this has wireless Apple CarPlay, that's automatically activated. So to connect your phone via Bluetooth, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your Bluetooth settings on your phone, and then you're going to click, you can just click phone, click connect phone. All right, so I'm going to click add a phone. Okay, and I'm going to, on my phone, it'll come up and say my Buick. So I'm going to click on that. And in a minute, it should ask me to pair. Is that the code showing on your phone? If it is, click pair on your phone, click pair on the screen. And then it asks you if you can sync everything. Well, I don't want to allow that because it's not my car. However, you can do that if it's your car, because then it'll take your address book and all that kind of stuff. So right now, it's asking me if I want to use CarPlay. And yes, you do. This is an iPhone, so the process will be slightly different for an Android Auto. And so it'll do a quick check for phone messages, and then it's going to be connected. So at this point, I can go ahead and I can shut my phone off. And there we go. I'm already at Apple CarPlay.